We got the big back test, guys. The big old back test that a lot of people has probably been talking about. The June high. You guys see we had that double triple top in June high. Back in June, we broke out of it. As a matter of fact, it was a gap up, a breakaway gap, a bullish breakaway gap. Please look up about bullish breakaway gaps and bearish breakaway gaps if you're unsure what it is. But this is an example right here. We build a pattern. We gap above it. That's considered a breakaway gap. We built a pattern here. At the time, some people were saying that's a cup and handle. I was saying it was an ascending triangle at the time. You guys recall my YouTube videos back in June. Either way, we needed the breakout of this double top. The market gave us a bullish breakaway gap. We finally back tested it as a support level, and the bulls stepped up where they needed to. Didn't show much follow through on that same day, but they stepped up where they needed to, at least for that trading day, that Friday, August 11th. All right. Another thing I want to mention is how beautiful it was. The trading price action, the price action for CPI. All right. I had people in my comment section arguing, trying to predict, which goes against my teachings. Very big turnoff for me when I was reading the comments. But they were trying to predict. It was two different predictions. They argued with each other, talking about, I bet you $1,000 you were wrong. One person said predicted SPY was going to 452. SPY went to 451.7. As you guys know, that was one of my fib level that I've mentioned multiple times. Perfect rejection there. So it didn't hit their 452 target, but that's still, you know, it still got pretty close. I say that was a profitable trade if you played your own prediction. Now, the other person said CPI is going to cause SPY to drop down to 443. It took some time, but SPY went down to 443.35. You guys were both off by about 30 cents. I don't like that you guys were predicting, but it's fine. People's going to do what they want to do. What is weird to me is how you both argued, though. They both were arguing. They both thought they were right. They both ended up being 30 cents off of their target, which in my opinion, they both were right. So what is the lesson here that I'm trying to get at? The lesson here is that there's no reason to argue. This is why I'm a sheep, because there are bullish opportunities to make money and there are bearish opportunities to make money. And I see weirdo retail traders, typical retail traders, making predictions and arguing with like bulls and bears, just arguing. It's typical average retail amateur stuff when I see stuff like that. Because there is so much opportunities. There is so much wealth to be made. It's really no point in trying to argue with a stranger online. Okay, bulls think they're right. Bears think they're right. One of you can't both be right. But in this occasion, thanks to CPI and the volatility it gave us, you guys are both 30 cents off of your target, which in my opinion, you both were right. There was money to be made both ways. This is why I say trade sheep style. If the bullish person only played this setup, they literally made a mistake. And that mistake was, look at this beautiful move to the downside. How much money you would have made trading this beautiful move to the downside? Good money, right? And if you were a bear bias person, you miss out on a whole lot of move from June and July. Okay? This is what I'm saying. This is why I'm a sheep. There's money to be made to the upside. There's money to be made to the downside. And I'm telling you right now, the bill collectors, the people you got to pay your bills to, your rent, your mortgage, your electricity, your water bill, your groceries, they don't care if you made your money the bullish way or the bearish way. I promise you that they don't care if you made your money to the upside or trading to the downside. The point is, do you have money to pay the bills? And that is my goal here. to show you guys the sheep style way of making money unbiasedly to the upside and to the downside. It's about optimizing our trading opportunities here using the price action. Optimizing our trading opportunities so that we can make as much money as possible using price action. Does that make sense? Am I wrong for wanting us to optimize our trading opportunities by telling us to be sheeps? Goodness, look at this beautiful price action. What did I say in my last video? Watch for that reversal. CPI, FOMC, day-to-days like that. The initial reaction has a tendency to be the fake one, which it played out here. And then the real reaction is the second reaction, or the whatever, the reversal. And it played out beautifully. This was definitely alerted in the group, and it led to a beautiful move to the downside. Okay? So that is how I digested and how I'm digesting last week's price action. We got some good price action, beautiful moves to the downside, and some decent tradable bounces as we drop some more. You know, so much opportunities to be made both ways. I don't see why bulls and bears love to argue with each other. And goodness gracious, talking about prediction, none of y'all can see the future, but let's keep pretending we can. Typical retail trader shenanigans. All right. So anyways, let's talk about the plan for next week. All right. Now, before I talk about the plan for next week, we have to talk about, I want to talk about seasonality. This is not my crystal ball, but it's the closest thing we got. All right. As you guys can see, I put did not track when it did not play out. And I put when it tracked when it did play out. And as you guys can see, seasonality this year so far has been more right than wrong. It's not always right, but it's been more right than wrong. And because I trade based on probabilities, I want to keep paying attention to this, and I encourage us to keep paying attention to it, not trade it, but track it, because I find it helpful. It's more right than wrong so far this year. And I wrote and I talked to you guys about this mid to late July last year when I brought up, guys, we are here now. We are heading into seasonal weakness. As you guys can see on the chart, it played out. I mentioned to you guys, seasonal weakness is the end of July heading into August. And look, it played out. So now I can write here, tracked. It tracked, and I'll change the color to green. Okay? Now, just like last month, I want to give you guys the head up of the seasonal shift, the potential seasonal shift that is possibly coming. In mid to late August, all right, usually there's a tendency, an average tendency based on 20 years of data of SPY just melting down a little bit more. For all we know, remember, this is the average. So for all we know, it already, back tested June high. This could be good enough, or it could go fill the gap at 442.5, which is from July 11th. Could do that. But either way, according to seasonality, we find a bottom towards the late end of August, okay? The mid to late end of August. And as we enter September for the last week of August, it's bullish. Heading up to mid-September, where we're going to get like a big old correction. Big, massive correction in September, potentially, okay? So just be careful if you are a bear bias trader. Be careful if you're a bull bias trader too. If you're a bias trader, period, you need to be careful, because market makers love bias traders because it's easier to manipulate you guys. And you guys just let it happen. Anyways, be careful. A seasonal shift is incoming towards mid to late August, similar to mid to late July. All right? So far it's been tracking, and I will be watching to see if this tracks again. All right, just a heads up. Now, from the price action perspective, we got to look at this as practical here, because a lot of people could say this and that could potentially happen, but it's not very helpful. It can go up, it can go down, it can go sideways. That's not very helpful when you tell people that. But what I try to do on my channel is identify the levels, the setups, the triggers for either to go long or short, where to take profits, okay? That's what I try to do here. Preparation from the price action perspective and also some trade ideas. So here is my trade ideas. I give you the bull case scenario and the bear case scenario. I'm not here to feed your bias. I'm here to get you guys prepared for anything that the market makers can throw at us, all right? So we closed around 445.6. As you guys know, I had a level at 445.5, all right? Last Friday was very choppy, overall untradeable. We had some beautiful moves the previous day, and then Friday, I guess, all the market makers and whales just went home. Like, we made enough money. We're going home. Anyways, 30-minute chart here, we consolidated. False breakout of 445.5, consolidate under it, tested as resistant, and managed to close end of the day above it. So critical support levels, 445.5. Not too critical, not as critical as 444, but it's a level to watch. And obviously 444, that's a critical level. June high, we tested that, got buying pressure there. And below that is the gap fill at 442.5, and my next fib level is at 444. That's a 78.6 fib level. Okay, so if you're bearish, you want to see those levels break back down, especially 444. 444, based on the charts, how it's structured, it would be pretty bearish because that would be a false breakout setup here. All right, that's the bear case scenario. Bull case scenario, as always, we do not call bottoms in Uncle Charters' trading channel. We wait for the right setup with patience and skills, not feelings. And that setup is the false breakdown setup. Okay, so for me, 447, that's fib level, 1.236 fib level. 447 needs to recapture to put higher levels in play. All right, 448.5, 450, 451.7, that's a fib level, and also strong rejection there from last Thursday. You know, if we can get above 450 and 451.7, then to me, that's a confirmation that tracks with seasonality, how the mid to late August is supposed to be a bottom found there, and we're gonna head up bullishly into September. So if that's the case for seasonality, then on the charts it needs to break out of this flag pattern or falling wedge pattern that I have here, and SPY would need to be above 450 and 451.7 to do that. So obviously if that happens, I would be bullish, all right, and it would probably track with seasonality, which means it could last all the way until mid-September, okay, where we're gonna get a big correction in mid-September. So watch for the breakout 447, 448.5, 450, and 451.7. All right. But overall, below 450, we could get a bounce, hit a lower high around 450, reject from the flag, and then head down lower. So overall, between 444 and 450, that's our chop phase range. Anything within this pattern is still chop, it's still noise, it's still consolidation. We don't know if it's gonna give us a bounce up and then head down lower, like what the seasonality suggests. We also don't know if it'll break out. But our job is to react, know the levels, know the setups, and just trade it unbiasedly, level to level style. Okay, so you guys got my setups. Below 444, I'm bearish. That's a false breakout setup on the higher time frame. 442.5 gap fill, 441, 439, 437.5, and 436 and 434, all fib levels will be in play, okay? We recapture 447. I will favor the top of the flag pattern being hit around 450. But if 450 clears and 451.7 clears, that's bullish. look to react bullishly. I'm telling you, the bill collectors, they don't care if you make money to the upside, to the downside. They just want to get their bills paid. And I'm pretty sure you want your bills paid. So don't play it biasly and then getting yourself screwed over. All right? Don't argue with the price action. Say it to yourself in the mirror 5 times. Don't argue. Point at yourself too. You got to boss yourself around a little bit. Point at yourself the way Uncle Charter's logo, the Uncle Ram logo, points at you. Point, I want you. You know what to say. Anyways, Triple Q here. Uncle Charters has been saying I'm bearish on Triple Q as long as below 375.6. Okay, we zoom out here. I show you one more time for the new viewers that's new to my channel. I have fib levels from all-time high down to October 2022 low. All right, that 78.6 fib level was at 375.6, and that's when I mentioned to you guys, hey, if we break down that level, guys, stay bearish. And so far we got down as low as 364.6s. All right, I had a fib level around there around 365. Those levels were smashed. Beautiful trade setups on Triple Q last week. Now, what's the next setup? Above 367, we can look to long. All right, overall, I'm still bearish below this this triangle pattern here. To be bullish and recapture, it needs above 371.5. So overall bearish below 371.5. But if bulls want like a dead cat bounce or a back test, 365 and 369.5, 367 and 369.5 needs to clear to put 371.5 in play. We play this level to level. Now, if 371.5 clears, a potential false breakdown setup of the triangle pattern. And if that clears, 373 would be back in play. And above that, I got that critical level at 375.6 fib level. And if that clears, that would be very bullish in my opinion. I would favor the top of this triangle. A Tesla top of triangle will be at 380.5. Now, if we clear 380.5, don't argue with the price action. That's bullish. And we are likely heading up to a new 52-week high. All right, above 380.5 would be when I'm bull biased. But overall, though, right now, as long as below 371.5, still bearish. If we clear some of these levels, you could play it unbiasedly, but make sure it's level to level because that would be a counter trend trade. But if we can recapture some critical levels, as mentioned, okay, we can lean more bullish. But as of right now, bearish. Watch for false breakouts and watch for breakdowns of more supports because we don't call bottoms here. Now, 365 and 363.4 fails as support next this coming week. That's very bearish. 361 incoming. 359 and 357.5 in play below. Dow Jones still creeping around my fib levels, closing below it, recapturing, closing below it. You know, you can see how these candles side by side stacking. It's consolidating, but which way? All right. As I mentioned before, above 353, I'm bullish, but bears, but bulls have been struggling to hold above that level. So for me to trust to being bullish above 353, I'd like to see the 353.7 level clear as resistance. If that does, then I would favor 355.7, 358, and 360-ish in play above, okay? Now, as far as being bearish, I need to see 351 and 349 fail, okay? My orange trend line there. If that fail, I'll be bear bias with lower targets in play, 346.5 and lower. You guys should have my levels for Dow Jones, okay? But if you don't, 346.5, 344, 342.5, and 339-ish would be in play with 337.7 and 336. All right, upside targets, I think I mentioned that already. Okay, IWM. Yeah, let's try to simplify this. Fib levels at 191.4 and the yellow trend line is at 192.7. Okay, that's what bulls need to break. Break those levels, bulls, and we could see a bullish breakout and put high targets in play. 193.8, 195, 196.5, and 198.5 would all be targets. Okay. Now, as far as being bearish, if it can hit 192.7 and reject, break back down or something, 191.4, I would be bearish. Like, so basically a false breakout of 191.4 would be bearish, but also a breakdown of 189. If it breaks down 189, what you don't do is argue with the price action, but what you can do is react unbiasedly. So if it breaks down 189, that's bearish at 187, 185.7, 184.6, and 183.5 all in play. All right, these are some new levels. If you're wondering, Uncle got some new levels? Yeah, I made some adjustment on my fib level, so got some new levels for you. Add them to your charts, please. Okay, so 240.7 is a critical support level. This Tesla right here. If that breaks down, 240.7 break down, 238. And then gap fill. Almost got the gap fill. Gap fill at 234.8-ish. All in play. And the next critical fib level will be at 232.8. All right, we could get very bearish on Tesla. We've been bearish, but we get more bearish if that 240.7 level fails and that 238 level fail. Now, as far as being bullish, as always, we need to clear some resistance. The big resistance level is all the way at 259 based on my yellow trend line. And as long as below it, bears in control, okay? Problem is we can get dead cat bounces that go back up to retest those things. And then bears going to get, butt her. Oh, So just be careful with that, all right? So to help you out with that, the levels are 244. If 244 clears, 245.5, 249, 253, and of course the yellow trend line is all the way at 259-ish. Okay, between 253 and 259, I got 255.5. Yeah, that's about it. That's the only level I got right now. Okay, because a bunch of price action changes based on the content. But those are the levels I got. Please add them to your charts to simplify them. We break out, we break down, false breakout, false breakdown. You'll be able to know using the 15 to 30 minute chart is what I recommend. Okay? Apple, just consolidating, chopping sideways. The 176 level is very critical. That was a high back in August 17th. When we broke out of that level, it led to a very nice upside. So we're consolidating sideways just above it. If it breaks down, guys, if the buy orders break down 176, a week of consolidating, that would be bearish. After a week of consolidating and then breaking it down, that would be bearish. All right. Below 176 is bearish. We could drop down to 173, 170.5, 167.5. There's a gap at 165.6s. All right. 176 breakdown. Don't argue with the price action. That's bearish. Now, as far as being bullish, I got resistant at 179 and 181. If we can clear 179 and 181, maybe I'll be a little more bullish, at least for a retest of 185, okay? Now, if we retest 185, reject it, that's bearish. But if we recapture 187, 188.4, gap fill at 191 would all be back in play. And 192.5, 194, and 196 would be in play. All right? So breakdown 176, bearish. If we recapture some levels, bullish. All right? NVDA, beautiful trade setups. I've been giving us legendary trade setups in my Discord and even on my YouTube video. If people took the trades more serious, they probably think that Uncle Chart is the greatest of all time. But unfortunately, a lot of people just have been ignoring my NVDA trades so that they can go trade some stock that's less volatile. I don't know. It's crazy. But if you have been following my analysis on the NVDA and you have been trading it, I want to say that you make me very happy. You even make Uncle Charles feel young. Woohoo, Frank Sinatra. Anyways, but you know, I'm just happy that, you know, if I was able to assist you, because these were some beautiful, you know, setups with the levels. And if you traded biasly, you probably got smacked and you probably don't even have any more money to trade. And if that's the case, you know, and you still want to trade, definitely look into paper trading and practice the sheep style trading. You know, if you still got some money left over, stop using that money and go to paper trading and practice so you don't lose any more money. Okay? Because I'm telling you right now, the money, the movements that we had with NVDA this past week, I'm pretty sure a lot of people got smashed. Okay? In order for the market makers to make movements like this, liquidity must be provided, okay, by the whales. And the market makers use it to manipulate, setting their spreads, pushing it up and down, whatever they want to do, screwing people over as much as they can. Hopefully none of my sheep style traders were one of the casualties, because we had some beautiful trade setups on the Discord. Check the receipts, but I don't want to show off too much. But what I do want to do is give you guys the levels and setups so that you guys can make some bank. All right. Now, fib level is at 410. That's my 23.6 fib level. We close below that, which means we got a breakdown. So that breakdown will either be we go lower or we go higher, right? Remember what I said? Oh, up, down, sideways. It's so useless. Right, you're right. But I got to give you guys, I got to make it practical, right? The mindset's important. Your mindset should be all about reacting. When you go to boxing or you fight somebody and you try to predict what they're going to do, you're going to be screwed over, because they're going to hit you in a way that you didn't expect. And it's always the punch you don't see coming that knocks you the hell out. So when you're trying to predict, you are setting yourself up to get knocked the hell out, because the market makers love to trick. That's what they do for a living. They trick us out. So try to be nimble, sheep style, and be reactive. Okay? So if 410 recaptures, that's bullish. That's a false breakdown setup. So if we're getting a false breakdown setup, that's when you look to long. 412, 413.5, and 416 would be targets. Above 416 would be very bullish. I would favor 420.5. Let me see. 420.5, 422, and 425 would be targets above. Okay. Now, if we stay below 410, no reason to be bullish yet. Watch for the breakdown of the next support at 406. And if that fails, 404.5, 401, and possibly down to 397-ish would all be back in play. All right? Microsoft, still looking bullish, bearish, excuse me. Still looking bearish after we broke down my orange trend line. From here, we have some support at 319 and 317.5. If those support levels fail, we're going to see more downside. Possibly down to 313-ish, 311-ish, maybe lower to 309 and 307. All right, we break down support. What do? You can look to short. It's up to you, level to level. You can wait for a false breakout setup or something like that if you're bearish. Now, if you're bullish, though, got to clear some levels. 322.5 and 325 and also 327 are critical resistant levels. If those levels clear, then I would be bullish. I'll favor a back test of my orange trend line up to 333-ish, which would still be overall bearish. But if it breaks above 333-ish, that would be bullish. False breakdown setup, put in 335.5 in play. And then 337.5, 338.5, 340, and 342 would be in play above. Amazon. I got fib levels from July 4th high down to July 26th low. These are the new levels that they gave us. Now, 139 is the 1.236 fib level. If that level clears, look to long. If 139 clears, look to long. With 140.6, 142, 143, and 145 as my targets, okay? As far as the bearish case scenario, there is a critical support zone at 136.5 to 137 zone. 136.5 to 137 zone is support level. If that fails, look to short with 135 to 134.5 zone in play. And then we could possibly drop down to 132.6. And then we got some fib levels at 131.3, 130, and then support of this white trend line that I have here, which also has to be a fib level, is at 128. All right, guys. Google, bull flagging. Google's bull flag. It looked like a bull flag. We'll see what happens though. But as of right now, critical support is at 129.5. As long as above 129.5, I do favor a test of the bull flag up to 132.3-ish, okay? Now, first resistance is at 131. Gotta clear 131. If it does, then we'll test the bull flag at 132.3-ish. Excuse me. And above 132.4, I'll be bullish. That's a breakout. 134.8, 136.4, and 138 would be targets. Now, if you want to be bearish, it needs to break below a daily candle close below 129.5. All right. If that breaks down, 128.2, 126.6 would be in play. Below 126.6 would be a breakdown of my bull flag, and that will put 124.3-ish, 122.6, and 121 would be in play below, okay? Meta, still trying to, did it fill the gap? Yes, it did. Holy moly. What was the trading plan for Meta last week? It was the short below 309, stay bearish below 309. I was favoring the gap fill, and we got the gap fill last Friday. Beautiful. Now, if we break down 300.4, we could go test my multi-month trend line here, which is at 296, okay? So both better step up at 296. Okay, if they like all year, Meta has been riding up this trend line, okay, this blue trend line. If they break down below 296, guys, it's gonna be bearish. Look what happened with Apple when it broke down its trend line, okay? It's gonna be bearish for Meta. And below 296, I will favor a test of 286. Yes, that's a big move. But yeah, 292 would be in play first, and then I'll favor a test of 286. All right? I will only trust the bounce above 309. Now, you can try to, long it if some resistance clears. They're not major resistance, though. They're minor. I got minor resistance at 303, 305. And 307.5, and then 309, okay? But remember, 309 is the critical level. So above 309, I'll be very bullish and favor 313, 315, 318, 321, and possibly pop up to 325-ish. All right, guys? Netflix. Whew! What did I say to you guys last week? Look to short below 437.5 and 432-ish. Holy moly, did it work out. Oh, look to short below 426.5. That was one of my levels. Not sure if anyone followed it, but holy moly, is it looking bearish. And as long as below 426.5, I recommend us staying bearish. Next support is at 421. 421. If 421 fails, I think we're going to go test 15.3, probably lower down to 412-ish, okay? The only way I would long is if 426.5 and 432 recapture to put 437.5 and 443, almost 444 back in play, okay? These are some beautiful volatile moves. AMD, it showed follow through after rejecting from the yellow trend line. You guys can see here we have a descending triangle pattern. Okay, bunch of tests from the yellow line support, bunch of rejection from the yellow line resistant. Okay, so 107 needs to fail. If 107 fails, I'm talking a daily candle close below it. 107 fails, is going to be very bearish. It's going to get very ugly, maybe like waterfall style even. Maybe. Level to level, of course. 105, 103.5, 100, and possibly down to 97-ish in play. All right, I'll only trust the bounce if 109.5 recaptures, and if it does, we'll likely head back to the top of the triangle. But 111, 113, and then 115 in play first. To break out the triangle, it needs above 117. Above 117, I would be bull bias. VIX, looking bearish. Broke back down my 15.5 level. 14 is in play with 13.3 and 1206. All right, guys. To be bullish, it needs to just get back above 15.5. Here is the dark pool orders. 1.2 billion in premium at 445.9 and 445.4. So give that a zone. That could be resistant. Above it, bullish. As long as below, bearish. Let's see. The SPY filter for 500K premiums or above. Overall, bearish. Triple Q, very bearish. Dow Jones, bearish. IWM is bearish. Tesla is bearish. Everything bearish. Apple is bearish. NVDA bearish. Amazon is bullish. Amazon's the only stock showing strength right now. Google is bullish. Google with the L is 50-50. All right. That's very helpful, Google. Meta is bullish. Netflix, nothing for Netflix. AMD is bearish. The VIX is bullish. All right, guys. I'm covering 13 to 14 different equities on my videos. Please consider subscribing and hitting the like button if you didn't already. And I know a lot of people are asking me to do more stuff. These videos take a lot of effort. I do have to do some editing, okay? So I can't just keep throwing new stocks onto my... I'm already covering 14. I don't want to cover 15. Next thing you know, it's going to be 20, then 30. If you want more content from Uncle Chartist, please support me and consider joining my Discord, and I will do my best to support you and make it worth your while. If not, these 14 different equities that I cover on my videos, that's all I got for you guys, okay? So if you're commenting, asking me to add this to your chart, I don't want you to feel like I'm ignoring you or that I don't want to do it, but I'm already doing a lot for free. So if you're here to support, thank you so much. But if you want me to add more, I'm not going to add more, guys. I'm so sorry. I love you guys, but I'm already covering 14. Now, if you got a suggestion of what I should add and what I can take out, like, hey, uncle, why don't you take out Netflix? No one really cares about Netflix, and maybe you can add in Baba. I'll be open to those suggestions. So if you guys comment below what I can take out and what you want me to add, sure, I'll definitely consider those. But if you want me to do more, I'm already doing 14 different equities. I lose my voice towards the end of talking. My voice is like going out right now, and my mind is just, getting brain farts, and I don't want to give you guys bad information. So if I do too much, I got to know my own limits. All right, that's all it is. It's not that I don't want to serve you guys or anything, or that I'm just trying to convince you to join my Discord. I mean, I'll be real with you. I love you. Join my Discord. My goal is to get to 200 members on my Discord, and it's been very difficult to get to that level, but I'm trying and putting the work in. But I just want to let you guys know what's going on, all right? So thank you guys for your understanding. Peace.